What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Double Coverage, the premier NFL podcast of the Gin Sports Network. Thank you so much for joining us today on a Monday, the 20th of February, 2023. My name's John J. II, here with Musa Basal. Musa, how we doing today, man?
Pretty good. Had a pretty nice week, enjoying the weather still.
Yeah, we got some beautiful weather here in Michigan, and, it's kind of a roller coaster. We know we're in that roller coaster time of the year. Really, it's all year that we have to deal with that, but really big time fluctuations as far as weather patterns. We're getting, sub-zero temps where we're getting some snow, ice, storms, and then it's melting, and then we have grass, and then the snow begins to melt, the ground begins to thaw. I don't know if the groundhog saw his shadow or not. Still haven't confirmed that. I think the one that from last year had passed away, so they have a new recruit in his place. So he's learned the ropes as far as how Groundhog Day works and how the process proceeds. But I'm sure by next year he'll have it down. So we'll see what happens. We're just rolling with the punches right now, getting forward, moving towards spring, towards that warm weather. Hopefully it's on its way, and we can focus on that. So got a good show for you guys today, talking about the recap of the Super Bowl, LVII, and just at first glance, 38-35 is the final. Chiefs defeat the Eagles by a field goal, last-second field goal. Let's just talk about the last few minutes real quick, and then we can talk about the entire game. So I always have a sour taste in my mouth when any team runs down the clock, and I get it. It's to win the game. It's for the win. Obviously, you're going to do anything it takes to win the Super Bowl. You're not going to play around and score a touchdown, punch it in. And we've seen that Nick Chubb incident where the Browns did that and they wound up losing the game because they did that and they scored with time, and they could have just let the time run out and score a field goal, do the same thing. But I just have a sour taste in my mouth with winning a Super Bowl or winning any game that way. I guess, what is your outlook or what is your recap perspective on the Super Bowl, and most importantly, how the Chiefs won the game in the dying embers?
It would be fun and entertaining to watch the Chiefs defense stop this Eagles team with a chance. It's giving them that chance to, actually win the game. But you're playing for a Super Bowl win. You're not playing for entertainment. You're playing to win the game. So I understand it. As someone, I guess, who played football, I want to win that game guaranteed. I don't want to risk it and leave it up to chance.
Yeah, that's understandable. I if I was on the Chiefs sideline, if I'm in the ear of Andy Reid, if I'm up there in the booth saying, "Okay, guys, this is what we got to do to win the game. We're going to walk out of here with the Lombardi Trophy when the night is out." That's the most important thing. I think that you can't really take it away from the team, the coaching staff, anybody, from winning a game that way. Even though as an Eagles fan, your blood's got to be boiling. I got friends that are big time Eagles fans. I can't say I'm an Eagles fan myself. Really could have gave a shit less who won this game right here.
Yeah.
But it's a tough way to lose after having a season like the Philadelphia Eagles. Going back into the early episodes of the DCP, we predicted the Eagles were going to make a playoff run just with how they were playing, their dynamic on offense, their versatility on defense. We saw it happen in the early stages, and we had some early predictions, and they did a great job for most of the year to stay atop the NFC East, to guarantee them a solid chance to make a playoff run. So it all came down to the holding call called on cornerback James Bradberry on the 3rd and 8, gave Kansas City a first down. Jerick McKinnon slid at the 2, forcing the Eagles to use their last timeout. So that was the game. That was the call. And of course, this is always going to go on the shoulders of the refs. And we've seen it happen year after year, game after game, week after week. The refs have been under a microscope this year, not just football, but in basketball as well. And it's just how it is. And I can see the perspective of the fans, of the players, of everybody else that, can see what's going on, with the refs. How much influence do the refs have? And I have a unique perspective of being an official myself, so I can kind of see what the refs are going through. I can understand what the refs are going through. I think the difference with this call is the timing of it. And like you said pre-stream, if the Chiefs or if the refs don't call it, then the Chiefs are pissed off. If they do call it, then the Eagles are up in flames. And we saw the latter. So I guess what do you have to say about the call that was made? Was the timing bad? Did the call have to be made? And even after that, James Bradbury said, and I quote, "It was holding. I tugged his jersey. I was hoping they would let it slide." And that kind of is the nail in the coffin to the referee dispute, because Bradbury had, following the game in an interview that was on the record, said that, hey, it was a holding call. I made an issue. I made the infraction. I fouled him, penalty, and it was a justified penalty. It's not like I didn't foul him at all, or didn't hold on his jersey or anything like that. He owned up to it. So what do you have to say about that call and the timing?
I mean, I've seen worse things go uncalled. I've seen things that were less get called. It all depends on who the ref is and what kind of mood they're in and what they want to do. Are they letting them play that game? So I think you have to look back at the game and what's been called and what was getting called and see what's going on in that sense. Like, are they calling these things? Are they not? If you see the replay, there's a pretty obvious thing where he did grab the jersey. You see another angle, it doesn't look as bad, but he did go for that grab. He tugged at the jersey. He wanted to hold him, but it didn't stop him too much. But going for the jersey, going for the thing, is simple enough. It speaks for itself. Like, he was trying to grab the jersey. He got a little bit of it. He didn't get too much of it, but he still held him.
Yeah, I mean, the foul was committed, basically, and it was owned up to by the committer, which was James Bradbury, and it happened to be him. He happened to be the guy that essentially lost the game for the Eagles. He lost the Super Bowl for the Eagles, and it takes a big man to, own up to that and say on the record, yes, it was a foul, it was a penalty, and it all falls on his shoulders. So
I'm going to disagree with you on this one.
Okay.
He didn't lose him that game. Sure, it ran out the clock. It didn't give the Eagles an opportunity to go down and score, but it's not like the Eagles went and scored a field goal and the Chiefs scored a touchdown because of it. They got a field goal at the end of the day. They ran out the clock, yes, but the way that Chiefs offense and defense was playing in that fourth quarter and how the Eagles were playing, I don't think that the Eagles would have went down and scored either way. I think no matter what you say, I don't think it's obviously all speculation at this point. You can't predict what would have happened. I just don't think the Eagles would have won that game either way.
Yeah, you can look at any instance within that game, and that's what I tell a lot of people that think about a game and think about it. Oh, it came down to one thing, and it's easy to say yes. In that moment, it did come down to that play. It came down to that call, that holding call, and it's easy to point the blame at one person. But you can look back at any instance in that game where maybe they didn't get a first down, maybe they missed a receiver. Jalen Hurts maybe missed a receiver. Bad play call from upstairs, any instance in that game you can point to that could have led to or was a scoring opportunity. And you can say, okay, well, that was the game. Okay, oh, well, no, this was the game. So that's why you get caught in the weeds a little bit when you're blaming a player or getting on even a series about influencing the entire game, because that's just not the case. It could have been any instance throughout that entire game. Could have been on the defense, letting a runner get by or get a first down that really mattered, or get a touchdown, getting burnt out by a wide receiver from the corners that just it happens. They get away, they get open, the safety falls asleep, and receivers get open. That's just kind of how it is. Let's talk about Harrison Butker. And he missed a 42-yarder in the first quarter, came down to a field goal. He wound up making it when it mattered. He said he saw the confetti. He said it was amazing to see the confetti. But I think there was a lot of Eagles fans in that final drive when that call was made on Bradbury that they're thinking, oh, man, this is just a chip shot, but what if he misses this? I mean, we could be going to OT real easy in a Super Bowl. And then you got Mahomes limping. He gets hit. He falls down weird. He rolls up on his leg. And I don't know if that was just all for show or what that was, but it looked like a lot of show to me. What do you think?
I think he exaggerated because halftime was coming. But, I'm sure he was in some pain at that moment in time. I know sometimes like when you like get hurt or injure yourself, you think it's a lot worse initially, and then you like walk it off, and then you're fine in a few minutes. He had the whole halftime to rest it up, get some treatment, and be come out better than ever before. So I think maybe he played up a little bit, but I think he was truly in some pain at that point. And then it's also like a mental aspect, going back to his old injuries, like, oh no, I re-hurt this. I'm injured again. Oh no. So that probably played a role into it. I don't think he intentionally like really like try to exaggerate it. I think it just slightly happened just because of a whole mental aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely, and I think you're right. And I just look at Patty Mahomes. I know he has that Mamba mentality. I really like watching him play. I think he's a very easy guy to hate, to despise, even.
I mean, his
And
wife
I
and his
feel,
brother.
yeah, and I feel a little bit of that. Yeah, his brother. I mean, he's a TikTok star doing TikToks in the background. I mean, give me a better clip for the Super Bowl other than Patrick Mahomes just winning the Super Bowl, giving an interview to analysts from ESPN or whatever sports network it was, Fox, that was hosting it. And then you got your brother doing a TikTok video in the background. I mean, does it get any better than that? I don't think so. I don't think it does.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think he gets a lot of hate because of his family.
his family is not a normal family. They're not. I mean, it's just even his wife. And I don't want to speak bad on anybody's name, but they're very quirky, and they seek the attention of the cameras and the media quite often. So they're gonna get it, and they're going to get some flack for it, just because of their rambunctiousness.
I mean, I think his brother gets more hate because like he's so entitled because Patrick Mahomes is his brother and he really didn't do. I mean, it's his brother. He didn't do crap, and he thinks he's entitled to it. Like the whole incident was like the bar thing that he wanted to go to a bar, but he got kicked out, and like just being entitled over that. And then I think his wife gets. I mean, some of it's deserved, but some of it's not. But I mean, it's his wife at the end of the day. Like she is a little entitled to some of his like success because she's put up with him since high school and has been by his side. So I get the brother hate more than the wife hate, but
I don't think it's really hatred towards the wife. It's just the quirkiness. You see her making the facial expressions. She's doing stuff, and then she's interacting with the brother as well. And it's just everything. It's the whole.
And there's like the whole thing throwing beer on like the other fans, and like if it wasn't Patrick Mahomes' wife, no one would be talking about it.
Yeah, that's true. I think the wife is more deserving than the brother. I mean, they're both deserving, I guess. Whatever coattails you might have to ride upon, the girlfriend was there through thick and thin. When there was no draft stock in Patrick Mahomes, she was there. So you got to give her some credit. And Jackson Mahomes, he's going to have that. I don't want to say he deserves it, but he has that attribute to be able to ride off those coattails confidently, and he's taking advantage of it. And if he's making something successful of himself, I have nothing wrong to say about that. It kind of shows and reflects the image of Patrick Mahomes. He reflects, the people that are around him. Everyone's reflected by that all as one. So it kind of gets thrown into a package deal. But aside from any of the family, the family connections, I think Patrick Mahomes, just with his Mamba mentality and with his resiliency to, fight through injuries, to run, get that extra first down when he has to get the extra yards, do what he has to for his team. You really can't take it away from the guy, but I think it's just the fact that it is the Chiefs. They have had success in the dying embers of many seasons in the recent history that we've been able to see, and it's just easy to root against them, I think. Yeah. And I found myself doing that maybe inadvertently, but I've even been in a position where I've been rooting for the Chiefs. So it's kind of a success story in a way. Obviously, they're doing something right over there in Kansas City. And they have the mentality and they have the fans to back them up, especially in Arrowhead. It's probably one of the most volatile places to play the game of football in the NFL as we know it today. And it's became that. It wasn't always that way, but it's really grown into a culture that I think we could compare to The Patriots, and we can compare that even to the Seahawks back in their heyday with the 12th player and whatnot, and just kind of forming that type of mentality around your program, around your franchise. That's something that they've been able to do, and to win against the Eagles, a great Eagles team that had a lot of promise going into this year and even into the playoffs. So I guess if I had to ask you this, what did the Philadelphia Eagles do to maybe lose this game? Because I don't think that, I mean, definitely the Chiefs won the game. I don't think that the Eagles handed them the game.
No.
Once I saw the score really close going into the fourth quarter, I knew that it was probably going to go the Chiefs' direction just because they have so much experience, like you had mentioned in the last show. And that is where that experience paid off. I was wrong. You were right as far as predictions go. And if you could make it to that point in the game where you give yourself and your team a great chance to win, then chances are you're going to do that if you have the experience and the record of showing up to a Super Bowl over the other team. Then you're going to probably win that game in that situation. So where did the Eagles go wrong as far as letting the Chiefs back into this game?
Just not being experienced. You're going to halftime up 10, and I mean, you see Patrick Mahomes, he got hurt right before that. So it's a little bit of a mental thing, just not being experienced. Like, oh, we have this. I think it got to their head, like, I'm going to win a Super Bowl. And then it kind of messed with them. Like, they were like less disciplined from that. Not entirely like less disciplined, but they let the Chiefs get back into it. And like this Chiefs team has been behind before. They've been here. They are confident, like, we can go and win this game. It's only 10 points. As the Eagles are looking at it, we're up 10 points. Patrick Mahomes injured. So I think part of it's just a little mental thing, not being experienced in that situation to deal with that and finish the game. I think the Chiefs' experience really shined through towards that second half, especially that fourth quarter, scoring 17 alone in that fourth quarter. Just has, I think, came down to experience, and like the Chiefs stayed true to who they are, and they finished the game off strong.
Yeah, and that's what happened. They let their foot off the gas, and that's the biggest statement that I would put behind the Eagles losing that game is they took their foot off the gas. They didn't put the pedal to the metal when they had to. They didn't put the nail in the coffin when they had the opportunity to. And in a situation like this, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to go for the jugular in a situation where you have a chance to win the game. Nick Sirianni wants to win the Super Bowl. We understand that. He runs a very electric program there in Philadelphia. Can't take that away from him or anybody involved. And it's just lack of experience. I think you have to bring it down to that main point, is the lack of experience. What would we have done differently? I'm sure you ask Nick Sirianni and others in the coaching staff, or even in that channel of people that are in the headsets. They could probably give you an hour discourse on what they could have done differently, and I think that they'd be happy to do that.
It's more credit to the Chiefs, really. Less like you said, it's not really the Eagles gave them the game. It's the Chiefs just finally showed up and played like the better team they're supposed to be, I think.
Yeah. They came out, they performed, they showed up, and they conquered. And that's what they had to do. That's what they set out to do. And that's what led to the final drive, which wound up winning it for the Chiefs, 38-35. So it is what it is. Onward and upward to next year. It's been a hell of a year here at the DCP. It's really been fun to recap all these games and all these happenings. And now it's time to focus on the offseason. What does the DCP have to offer in the offseason? Musa, I guess, what are you looking to cover? What are you looking to accomplish for the Double Coverage podcast in the offseason? Let me just ask you that.
I mean, yeah, just like what's going on around the NFL, what pickups are being made, what trades are being made, what the draft order is looking like, what's going on with coaching, and who's being hired, who's going where, and kind of like overall just NFL news, what's going on around the league when there is that news of, this team made this trade, this team did this, or things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And it just has to be clear that the NFL, and we've known this, we've seen this in the past with the many gin and tonics that we've made, and we're going to revamp the gin and tonic series that's going to be coming back in the month of March. So I'm excited to announce that. Short videos regarding different things happening around the world of sports, in the world today, in our world of news. Crazy things, scandals happen all the time. Nobody is exempt to being exposed or even threatened of being canceled. Any of us could be canceled or attempted to be canceled at any point in time. So that's going to happen. We're going to have opportunities to cover all that stuff in depth, trades, different things with the coaching carousel. The coaching carousel is very much alive in the NFL. It's not just a college thing. It happens in the NFL all the time. You got draft stock in certain recruits that are 5-star guys that are leaving college, that are seniors, that have already declared for the draft. They've already signed with agents. So there's a lot of things to talk about in the offseason. People think, oh, the season's over. There goes the podcast. There goes everything until next year. That's not the case. The episodes might not be as frequent as they would be during the regular season, but as things happen, we will do a check-in with the league and what's going on within the league. We're even going to look into getting some guests on the show as well for the double coverage, because that's something that we've really wanted to make a statement with and make a mission for us here at the DCP, to get people that are in the league, either players, either people that are analysts, people that are journalists, writers, people that are also interested, maybe even more specifically with certain teams or certain franchises than others. Get those people on the podcast, see what their workflow looks like, what does their day-to-day look like, and how do they analyze everything going on in the league, both on and off the field. So
I'm excited to see what Sean Payton does with this Broncos team, and I'm keeping very up to date with some of the players and seeing what changes are being made and things along those lines. What's training camp looking like? What's the NFL Combine looking like? Like that's one of the most exciting parts of the year is the NFL Combine. Seeing these people go and compete in this event and get ready for the draft.
Exactly. Well, because you see these guys, and we've seen it happen before. It can go in one of two ways. You see guys outperform the competition in college, and then you see them move on to the next level. They have two paths. They're either going to crumble and become a backup guy, hopefully at a good franchise, promising, that gives them opportunity for growth. They never know when their number is going to be called, but they hopefully that they're ready for that when their number is called. Or you got guys that come into the league and they're just phenoms right out of the gate. So you have one of two paths to take. Or you could take the Johnny Manziel route and completely crumble under yourself. And I think he works at FedEx now. So it's just kind of one of those things where you pick a path and you choose it, and we can see that path be forged early on. We can see the direction, hopefully, that where these guys are going to be going early on. So there's a lot to talk about in the offseason, and I'm really excited for it. There's a lot to look forward to with the absence of Tom Brady in the driver's seat. As one of the grandfathers has since, at least as far as we know, I think that it's been solidified. There's been news that has said, okay, all right, Tom, you're not going to come back, right?
I don't remember what it was, but he registered for something that really sets it in place.
Yeah.
Obviously, he can still come back, but it's very unlikely now.
Yeah, very unlikely. I'd say less than 5%, maybe even, I guess we want to be generous. We can say 6-7%, but I'd say less than 10. Less than 10% chance of Tom Brady returning with a jersey on. So that leaves us with one of the grandfathers still in the NFL, and that is Aaron Rodgers.
I can't wait.
Where do you see Aaron Rodgers going? Do you think he goes to the Raiders?
You know me, I hate Aaron Rodgers. So.
He's an easy guy to hate.
I hope he retires. That's where I want to see him.
Hey, it's looking that way, man. I mean, I think he's going to come back maybe for one more season, and then he's going to hang up the cleats.
He has to. He drove the Green Bay Packers into the ground.
Yeah, he really did. And I guess, does that completely fall on his shoulders, or could that be other things that are, whether it's coaching staff that have been ruffling feathers, maybe want to come in and make some changes. Maybe you got, stockholders, because the fans own the Green Bay Packers. Could that have been a factor for, either the failures that the Green Bay Packers saw this year or the friction with Aaron Rodgers and the entire organization?
Aaron Rodgers wanted control over the Green Bay Packers. They gave him control. They let him make decisions. They let him choose coaches. It was Aaron Rodgers' team. He was basically making the decisions for the team. And if the Green Bay Packers didn't give him that, he would have probably been on another team. And I think the Green Bay Packers wouldn't have been in great shape, but they wouldn't have been in as bad shape as they are right now.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of things to speculate here in the offseason. Where does Aaron Rodgers go? Where do certain players land? And how do the new players that will be drafted this year, how will they affect the current dynamic of the NFL? A lot of things to dive into. But for now, we're going to let you guys go. Musa, you got any final thoughts, final words for the people before we sign off today?
Yep, looking forward to an exciting offseason for the teams I support because they're on the way up.
Yep, a lot of teams are building. The Lions, I think that's one of the teams you're alluding to, if not the only team that is on the up and up. So there's a lot of promise for the Lions as well, especially with their with their finish. You can't be too hung up on it. Yes, they did get the short end of the stick going into the playoffs, but there's a lot of promise for the Lions going forward. So looking forward to all of it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Dan Campbell can do with that Lions team, because I think he has a lot of potential, and he is very loved and very admired in the city of Detroit. So they like him. I think he's here to stay, and I hope that's the case, because I'm a big fan of Dan Campbell. I'm going to be following him a lot in the offseason, and follow them in training camp as well. See what they're up to. See what they're looking for in the draft. See what they're trying to achieve in the NFL going forward into 2023. So
might make a trip out to some other training camps, public ones.
Might be worth a trip. All right, guys, good deal. Thank you so much for tuning into the Double Coverage Podcast. Make sure to check out our website, ginsportsnetwork.com, for all IG posts, updates, and articles regarding the world of sports and everything that we're doing here at the GSN. GSN HQ. It's really exciting stuff. A lot of stuff happening. We just unveiled the GSN Challenge 2023. GSN Challenge 4 coming to you in Montrose, Michigan at the Briar Ridge Golf Course. Make sure to get signed up. The link will be promoted everywhere in the coming weeks. It's already been put out on the Gin Pros Facebook page. Make sure to check that out. Check us out on IG, social media, everywhere. Link trees in the bottom of the podcast. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys here on the DCP next time. But for now, I'm John J. II with Musa Basal for Double Coverage at the Gin Sports Network. Have a great day.